So I was on TikTok last night. I seen there was this guy, this UFC fighter, that was comparing his training to Navy SEAL training. And also, he was saying that there wasn't a Navy SEAL on the planet that could complete his training as a UFC fighter. Now, when I looked at it, I said, well, okay, I'm going to compare and contrast this situation. So we have a UFC guy that fights in a sport that's regulated by rules, also a sport to where there's different things you can and can't do. A sport that's also has committees and stuff that regulate rules and regulations. There's certain tactics you can't use. There's certain weights you have to. There's certain weight requirements, and also there's a time limit. And also it's a structured sport. And although it is a combat sport, it's a very structured sport. There's rules and regulations, and you essentially can't really kill anybody. Essentially, somebody could die, but there's things set in place to where somebody doesn't get hurt too bad. So I thought about it now, and he almost sounds like he's offended, that Navy SEALs do what they do, and that he could probably, with his UFC experience and his UFC skills, could probably take on any Navy SEAL on the planet. Now I kind of agree with him. I kind of agree with him because he's a professional UFC fighter, and also he's been trained to grapple. He's been trained to do probably jujitsu, karate, all types of different things that you do as a prize fighter. So I give him the upper hand on that. I say, well, there's probably not a Navy SEAL on the planet more than likely that hand-to-hand combat could probably beat this guy, which is a UFC fighter. He's one of the top UFC fighters on the planet. Now, on the other hand, he was really referring to the training that he goes through to get to this level of excellency as a prize fighter, as a professional athlete. But the Navy SEALs, on the other hand, they go through training where a whole week they train and run 250 miles. They don't sleep for maybe 45 minutes in 1 week. Um, they are pretty much the nation's defenders. And when the Navy SEAL goes to combat or does what he's trained to do, there are no rules. People can die. Um, there's no saying, okay, I quit, timeout. My corner's throwing in the towel because they throw in the towel, everybody loses. So pretty much meaning that like they're our number one defense against terrorists and stuff like that. So this UFC fighter is pretty much comparing apples to oranges because even me, I was a lower level military fighter, and I was in combat and got shot at, and I couldn't go over there and say, "Oh, I give up." And even though I'm 3,000 miles away from home, and I'm in a city that's pretty much locked down, and you can't get out, and you have to pretty much shoot your way out. And I'm a lower level military guy. Just imagine what these Navy SEALs go through. These Navy SEALs go through things that we can't even imagine. Also, it doesn't even get publicized. So the stuff that he goes through, this UFC fighter, this idiot that's talking on the internet about how pretty much offending these Navy SEALs, they probably look up to this guy and think he's a terrific guy. I mean, now you look like a fucking scumbag because everybody knows that if they hand you an M4 or an assault rifle or anything like that and throw you somewhere off in Kandahar, Afghanistan, so where you probably cry yourself sleeping, you probably would die, you probably would make it. Also, um, these guys have to work as a team, and one mistake that they make, everybody dies. So there's a lot of discipline you have to have. There's a lot of specialized training that you have to go through. And also, these guys, the selection process for these guys is so rigid that the average human being could not make it through this training. And the average guy that doesn't make it through this training is is like an Army Ranger or a Marine Recon, or these are guys that already have gone through training that only 1% of the population can complete anyway. So then you go to Navy SEAL training, less than 1% of the people that go through Navy SEAL training make the training. So if you compare a Navy SEAL operator to a UFC fighter as far as the physicality, as far as what they can accomplish at a physical level, I would probably put them equal. But as far as endurance, as far as endurance, as far as endurance, like running, muscular endurance, other things that factor in with going to combat is not even close because the specialized training that they go through, nobody on the planet, including the side, which is Israeli CIA, one of the top combat fighters in the world, the Israeli Special Forces. These guys only go through the training that Navy SEALs go through. So I give a huge edge to the Navy SEALs on this one. And I don't know what this guy was thinking because they're nowhere even comparable to what Navy SEALs do. And I think this guy owes these guys a apology because he's speaking so matter of factly about this, almost like he doesn't appreciate what these guys do for our country. So I want to say these guys thank you because they do something that many people don't really do in this world. So we need to thank these guys instead of down talking these guys. Thank you.